You have the agenda before you. Are there additions to the agenda? If not, a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor? Thank you. It's 4 in favor and none opposed. Jack is not here tonight. Next week we'll have 2 certificates of appreciation for David Teo and Joseph Frith, who have gotten their Eagle Scout recognition. And because Martha has that same status as a Girl Scout, I'm going to ask her to make those presentations next week as well. We have 3 public hearings next week. The first is the application for approval of financing agreements for the Upper Kentucky Road Phase 1 Residential Utility, Neighborhood Utility, Neighborhood Street, and Peace Lane Assessment projects. The second is the preliminary assessment roll, Upper Kentucky Road Phase 1 Neighborhood Street Assessment Project. And the third is the preliminary assessment roll, Peace Lane Street Assessment Project. Those will all be public hearings next week. I just want to say tonight, because they're back on the table, Martha took my comments that I made to the Cottager meeting, and that sort of seems to be our state of the town that I give every year at the Cottager meeting. And she's put them in written form, and there are some copies back on the back table if you're interested in those comments. If you didn't see them or you had any questions you wanted to ask, that might be a good beginning reference point. The consent agenda, we have minutes pending. We hope that Ron had a restful holiday and now back into the weeds. You want to begin with your anything you need for us tonight, Ron?
Just a few quick updates. A reminder to everyone that we'll have a special meeting on August 11th at 10 a.m. in the walk-up building, talk about sanitation services. Want to let folks know we had about 7 applications, I believe, turned in for the town clerk position. So what I'd like to do is just let the board start thinking about how they want to proceed. I'd like to jump on interviewing, and I do have a couple of ideas about involving department heads as well as some testing, typing, those kind of things that we want to, computer skills that we want to make sure this person possesses. So I have some ideas like that, and just sort of get your ideas next week about how to proceed with that.
Question on that. Will you go ahead and share your ideas with us so we kind of know what you're thinking?
Certainly, I'd be
For
glad
that.
to. What I'll do is I'll send them out on email if that's all right.
That's fine.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to add or whatever, comment on those.
Okay. Usually, in the past, when we've hired positions, I've asked the person that oversees that department
Right.
to participate, the commissioner, I'm sorry, to participate. Since we really don't have a commissioner over that, except, perhaps the mayor would be seen in that capacity. I just need to know who would like to be involved, if anybody, and what kind of time frame we'd be talking about.
Okay, thank you.
So unless you have any questions, that concludes my report.
Thanks, Ron. In the administrative reports, do we have anything that needs to come before the board tonight?
Actually, David will be out next week, so I thought
Okay.
he could cover his tonight, if that would be all right.
That'd be great. Thanks, David.
July zoning building inspections report. We had no zoning permits applied for, but there are 2 variance requests that came in. They're right at the end of the month, and those are going to be heard by Board of Adjustment this coming month. We had 15 building permit applications. 13 of those were approved, 2 are pending. There were 44 building inspections requested. And let's see, I think that concludes that portion of the report. We did have a planning and zoning meeting last month. They discussed the stream buffer portion of the stormwater management ordinance as requested by the board. And they did not conclude that discussion. They wanted to revisit that again. They asked for staff to come up with some, professional opinions, people that could come in and provide their testimony about some of the economic impacts that stream buffers have, sort of from the developmental or design professional aspect of things. as well as some of the environmental impacts. So I've contacted 3 different people that said that they were willing to come out and do presentations to the board. Now, the 20th would be their normal meeting time, but based on my responses that I've gotten back from them, it doesn't look like we'll be able to hold that meeting this month because of the conflicts in schedules. So we're probably looking at either the 8th or the 15th of September to reconvene and continue those discussions. Other than that, that concludes my report.
Any questions for David?
Since you won't be here, next month,
At the regular meeting, maybe in the September meeting, you could give us an update on the house up above Welch Field that's been ongoing for quite a long time. And just, people have been asking me sort of what the status of that house that's under construction is. And so perhaps at the September meeting, you
Okay,
could give us an update.
that'll be fine.
Before we go into public comment, I'd like to back up a minute. I forgot to mention in my remarks, and it needs to be done, talked about tonight because apparently they're going to have a vote on Monday. The redistribution of state sales tax has a devastating effect on our community and Western North Carolina as well. And so we've been communicating with our representatives, and we've had a little bit of success that's gone from 80-20 to 50-50. But all of their documentation is based on a 3.5% rate of growth. In Buncombe County, at least Asheville, is experiencing a 10% rate, so it's even more financially devastating than these numbers would indicate. So if you live in North Carolina and you have a state representative that you can contact, please do that and explain to them the economic impact that it will have on this whole area.
Yeah, I've heard twice today from our representative, Terry Van Dyne, and because she's been very supportive of our position, to write her and thank her for her diligence in working on our behalf, I think is very important.
Yes, as part of your agenda packet, there is a copy of a letter that was sent, all of the municipalities and counties in this area signed this letter to go to the committees that are involved in this decision. We had, Ron and I attended a meeting, I guess it's a month ago or so, with the Asheville Chamber of Commerce and our, it was supposed to be with the Apodaca, but he didn't show up. But the House delegation was all there, and we had great conversations with them. Public comment. This is for items on the agenda. If you'll give your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes, that would be great. And you've got the timer on the screen to help you. Okay, under old business, we have a resolution approving the financing terms. And these all have to do with the Upper Kentucky Road project, the Phase 1 area assessment project. These are all financing terms. So any questions about this old business that we'll have, the financing terms for Upper Kentucky? We've been talking about it for more than a year. It finally looks like we're coming towards the end of that. Under new business, we have the Montreat College temporary street closure. They are beginning their celebration of 100 years anniversary, and that will begin with their convocation on the 19th. And then a celebration, they've invited the community to luncheon on the lawn after that. So that's on the 19th.
I know that the town has on occasion given resolutions of appreciation. Could that perhaps be something that might be appropriate to come from the mayor and the town, celebrating their 100th anniversary? That could be presented as the mayor feels is the most appropriate time to do that. I would like to make that suggestion.
That's a great suggestion. The college is an important part of our community. The well A04 pump replacement. Any questions about that funding to replace that well?
That's the one the lightning hit.
Yeah.
And we've got it back on.
So it's okay. We've already spent, we've already replaced the pump.
Yeah, it's the one I reported on last month.
Right,
and
right.
With summer being so critical,
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Were we able to get any insurance money off of that, Steve?
We're turning that in next week, and it looks like we could probably get all the deductible.
Thank
Great.
The last item of new business is the Montreat Hemlock Restoration Initiative Grant. We have filed that paperwork thanks to John Johnson, who prepared all of that for us. And hopefully we've asked for $10,000 to work towards our hemlock restoration with those little $5 a piece beetles. We'll hear more about that next week.
you. In conjunction with that, we got $1,000 from the cottagers, didn't we?
You did get some funding.
Yeah.
You got 2,000 from the Cottagers Wilderness and Open Space. I don't know what Cottagers itself did.
Okay.
Not the corporation.
Corporation, the
Wilderness
Cottagers.
portion.
But we still got a couple $1,000.
Yeah, yeah,
From the open space
So
portion
it
of
goes
that.
to open space.
yes.
No,
Well, then it
Yeah.
goes to the town.
The town will be the fiduciary agent for this grant.
I was just gonna suggest that that money go toward purchasing the beetles.
that's what we voted to do, was to put it
Okay.
toward the
Your
beetle.
wilderness.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's
And
not-
that's just
That's
from
a
that
different-
particular.
That's a different, he's
This is
talking
Different,
about.
talking about different money.
Yeah.
This is a new grant.
Okay. I know about the grant. I'm talking about, we had a meeting at the cottagers, the first one in July.
Yeah,
Weren't we awarded or given $1,000 or something?
1,500.
1,500.
I would just sort of seeing things come through in my role as not commissioner, but as wife of Joe Standard, who sees these things. In my role as wife of Joe Standard, who's involved with these things, I think that probably the money that came from the cottagers could perhaps be used for a different project. There seems to be good funding. There have been some donations through the conference center. There have been generous donations from the cottagers, individuals. Also, the money that's coming from the county, we're able to
That's
tie
fine.
into
That's
that.
just a
And
suggestion.
this is another grant yet. So I think we can keep that in mind, but right at the moment, there's an abundance of riches for little beetles.
Well, I think the plan is, though, to make it a 2-year,
Right.
Correct.
to make it a 2-year program so that they can release during either 3 or 4 times, assuming we're gonna have beetles.
Well, in answer to your question, Commissioner Helms, we have used the cottagers' money in the past to pay for the code red. We've kind of allocated
Right, I
it
was
to pay
just
for the
suggesting
emergency.
we put
Yeah,
more
so
of the Beatles this
we may be
year.
able to
That's
still have
okay.
the code
That's
red
fine.
funding
That's fine.
and the Beatles.
That's fine.
Yeah, we've got a couple grants going here. This is a brand new grant that I just signed the paperwork for on Monday, which is the $10,000 grant from the Department of Agriculture, which is a different grant than the one you heard about in July. The problem is there's just not enough of those little beetles. We may have the money to buy them, but they're just not available. They don't. Okay. Public comment for topics not on the agenda. Name and address and 3 minutes, please. Yes, Claire.
Give me the mic.
98 Chris Road, Tom said to say that we should order pregnant beetles. Tom and I are leaving a week from today to go to Brazil, and we'll be gone for about 6 weeks. And I want to make a proposal that is not formal, but I think it's an important one. And I'm speaking from a deep place in my heart. In fact, anyway, I am so concerned that we have a solution to our impasse that will deeply reconcile us to each other. And I don't feel we can do that. Even we're a really smart bunch of people, and I think we're a very well-intentioned bunch of people, and I just feel like we need to collectively understand and acknowledge our need of God to help us to come to a place of real shalom, which is much deeper than any building or bridge or budget. And I'm speaking first to myself, And my proposal, and like I say, it's not to vote on or anything like that, but it's just that we truly humble ourselves before God and ask for His help, for a solution that is a win-win for every single person, and that we realize that, and we are, anyway, that's just, we'll be praying for that, and we want to join you in prayer about that as we're away, and we look forward to something really wonderful for our community that's beyond what we could ask or imagine. That's it.
Thanks, Claire. Anyone else? Okay, our meeting dates. We have a special meeting for the sanitation services on August the 11th at 10 o'clock in this building. The council meeting is on the 13th at 7 o'clock in this building. The planning and zoning is not going to meet on the 20th. That's correct, David.
Yes.
The Board of Adjustment meeting is on the 27th at 7 o'clock in this building. The bi-weekly sanitation services end on the 28th of August. Seems like I was just telling you they were beginning.
Can I just say a quick word about that? There seems to be some confusion in the community that this is something that we're taking away from folks. This is the bi-weekly sanitation service has always been offered during the summer, and we've always ended it during the summer. So this is not anything new. It's not a new change. It's not a new service delivery change. I just want folks to really understand that this is something that we've been doing for at least 10 to 15 years, where we've had bi-weekly service during the summer, and during the winter we do weekly service. So this, again, is not a change in what's perceived as a service change.
Thanks for that reminder. Agenda items are due on the 28th by 5 o'clock in the Town Services Office. Land Care will be on the 2nd at 9 o'clock in Freeland Hall. September agenda meeting is the 3rd at 7 o'clock in this building. The Town Service Office will be closed on September the 7th for the Labor Day holiday. And the rescheduled sanitation collection is on September the 8th at 8 o'clock in the morning. It begins. The September council meeting is on the 10th at 7 o'clock in this building.
I have one communication.
Okay?
I want to call your attention to some materials that are on the table back by the door. There are envelopes to continue to contribute, to buy little beetles if you would like to give them to all your family for Christmas or whatever. There are envelopes for those contributions and some handouts about the Hemlock project, the restoration project. There are also copies of the house check request form. That's the form that individuals can use when they are away, whether seasonally or, like Claire mentions, they're about to go on a trip. This is a form that's can be printed from the town website, but we have some copies of them. It helps our police to have complete information about the dates that we leave and come back, but also how we can be contacted, even which vehicles might be still at the house when you're gone, to give them the information. So there are those forms, and also a few more of the booklets about the protecting our homes from wildfires that we got from the Forest Service. So, and other things are back there. So the sanitation schedule cards are back there. So it's always good to have information available, or take it for others if you know they need it.
Anything from anyone else? We have another fire that's backing up to Camp Greer, so that's Janie's neck of the woods. If there's nothing else, we have a closed session. There's a motion printed on your agenda.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we enter into closed session in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143-318-11-3 for attorney consultation regarding the civil action Carolyn Zoe Crowder, John L. Curry, Nancy B. Thomas, Henry W. Darden Jr., and wife Carolyn Darden, plaintiffs versus the town of Montreat, defendant.
Second.
Those in favor? It's 4 in favor and none opposed. Thank you all for coming, and the meeting is next Thursday night at 7 o'clock.